4 years ago this weekend, Hurricane Katrina laid waste to one of America's most colourful, historic and iconic cities. More than 1,800 people died in the storm that destroyed entire neighbourhoods in New Orleans. The devastation and the delayed response from Washington shocked many Americans, and the Katrina crisis came to be seen as a defining moment in George Bush's presidency. The city still struggles today with serious social issues like a housing crisis and a hospital system under severe pressure. Many of the residents are now looking to the new president to do much more. North America correspondent Michael Brissenden reports from New Orleans.
To the tourists in the French Quarter, New Orleans today is still delivering the sweaty, passionate, exuberant experience it always has. But behind the spontaneity and the seductive southern welcome, this is a city struggling to rebuild. 4 years on, the scars of Katrina are still raw.
It makes me ashamed of my country to see the way this wonderful city, this treasure of the world, has been left behind. It really is sad.
It was so vibrant before Katrina. A lot of hard competition between players. All that, has been defeated, been taken away, and we hope to bring it back to what it was.
I'm getting ready to move from down here, period. Yeah, I'm about to move. Like, next hurricane come, I'm gone. I'm never coming back. Never.
The Lower Ninth Ward was the area hardest hit by Katrina. This historic African-American neighbourhood was almost completely devastated when the levees breached on the 29th of August 2005. Today, a charity founded by the actor Brad Pitt is rebuilding some of it. And this part of the Lower Ninth has become a showcase for innovative design.
Each of the different designs from all of the different architects are built in a very sustainable, safe way. As you can see, the majority, our houses have solar panels on them. They're built to withstand the storms. They're built at elevations that keep the houses safe.
But these are a lucky 12 blocks. Elsewhere in this area, the reconstruction is painfully slow or non-existent. Many residents in these poorer neighbourhoods were uninsured. If their houses are still standing, many are living in substandard conditions. And some simply have nowhere to go. Naomi Burkholder is squatting in 2 rooms of a condemned house. She has Crohn's disease and a badly disabled leg. With no kitchen or toilet, she relies on friends to take her to the nearby fast food restaurant once a day.
I have a wheelchair there, and I go to the washerette. I eat and stuff like that. I go to the bathroom down the street.
Ms. Burkholder is on a public housing waiting list, but that too is moving painfully slowly.
Every time I see this, it makes me very angry.
In the immediate aftermath of the hurricane, the city authorities condemned much of the public housing as well. Social campaigners like Jacques Moriel have been fighting to keep what's left of the old projects open, but he and others accuse the Bush administration and the mayor of using the disaster to try and recast the city.
Well, they closed this, and they closed a total of more than 4,000 units of public housing. Because they didn't want the working poor to return. And they suggested that the public housing developments, the buildings themselves, in some way were responsible for crime. But our crime rate now is higher than it was before Katrina, so we know it wasn't these buildings for sure.
We had some tough decisions to make after Katrina, and, the people who controlled all the dollars were basically pushing for something new and different, so we compromised.
Ray Nagin was once a popular political figure, but his failure to deliver after the hurricane has swept away his political reputation. He isn't running for re-election next year. He concedes his compromises weren't popular, but he says progress is starting to be made and the city needs to be more patient.
Well, it's frustrating, it's slow, but then again, we're moving along and we're starting to gain momentum. Most recoveries take 10 to 15 years before they really are completed. We're in year 4.
And it's not just housing that's under pressure. The mayor is also blamed for the continuing crisis in healthcare. Before Katrina, there were more than 2,500 hospital beds. Now, there's just 700.
There is a lot more pressure on the medical facilities in New Orleans now than there was pre-Katrina, simply because there are less hospitals to care for the patients.
In 2005, there were 15 hospitals in the New Orleans area. Now there's only 4. The city's biggest and oldest hospital never reopened. The mayor's opponents say he chose to keep it closed so the city could make a bigger claim for federal financial assistance. Ray Nagin rejects the accusation but says the window to reopen it has now passed. And more federal assistance is something everyone would welcome. As they say around here, the Katrina crisis wasn't caused by just a weather event. It was, above all, a failure of engineering and a failure of political leadership. For George Bush, it was a pivotal moment from which his presidency never recovered. Now, as we approach the 4th anniversary, there are real hopes in neighbourhoods like this of a greater involvement by the administration of the country's first African-American president. Those who have found a home here in the Musicians' Village, another charity-funded boutique redevelopment, know how fortunate they are. This small group of houses has helped keep the music alive in New Orleans. But the old pros like Dewey Sampson and Charles Moore say it's not nearly enough.
I really believe in President Obama, and I wish him the best, and he'll get to us. He's a very busy man, but he won't forget. He won't forget it. He'll help. And we all have hope, and he gives us this hope that we needed to thrive on. Because without hope, we're desperate people.
But for some, hope alone is not enough.
I must say that we are growing respectfully impatient here. We know that President Obama has a lot of big problems that he's trying to solve, but here we are 4 years later still struggling.
Michael Brissenden reporting from New Orleans.